David Biase, co-founder and director of Pilot Interactive, has transformed his digital agency into a brand technology company. Early in the company's 8-year history, he and his partner noticed a divide between interactive design and programming cultures. His firm prides itself on nurturing a culture that embraces the art and the tech, creating software that looks as good as it functions. David is here today to talk about how he came to co-found Pilot at 22 years of age, how technology can solve difficult business and real-world problems, and why it's important to respect form and function in building software for companies. Welcome, David.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. How did you get started in the world of tech?
Oh boy, that's a long story. Basically, I had a very keen interest in programming from a very young age, dabbled with computers a lot, was always fumbling with something, and it came to a point where I started purchasing a lot of basic programming books. So, ASP, JavaScript, a lot of very basic entry-level programming literature. And over time started to learn and adapt to a lot of the literature that I had collected, and pretty much taught myself a lot of the fundamentals that were required to launch a career into tech. It was interesting though, because my schooling, my education never really accounted for that, or went in a completely different direction. It was anticipated that I would go to law school and basically follow a completely different path than where I'm at right now. But just a general interest, a passion came out of it, and at age 18, I had an opportunity to build my first e-commerce platform. It was a paid gig with a consulting shop, and I remember my parents asked me, "What are you doing this summer? Are you working at the family business, or what are your plans?" And I said, well, I have this opportunity to work on this contract project, and they're going to pay me, I think it was like $15,000, $20,000 for 3 months of work. Yeah, and they didn't believe me at first, and they questioned it a lot, and they were pretty upset that I wasn't going to go work in the family business. And so I sat there in my basement for 3 months, put a lot of effort, a lot of time into it, and by the end of the 3 months, I had delivered the project, and I got that check for, again, $15,000, $20,000, and my parents sat there and like, oh, okay, good. Well, at least you did something with your time, and they were impressed with the amount, obviously, but the whole thing kind of grew out of that passion and that sense that this is something I could be good at, and it just drove me to want to do better and better and better at it. And that's pretty much my basic start. Once I was in university, I went into political science as an undergraduate student, and I did 4 years of that. And I wrote my LSATs and was ready to submit my application, sent them all in, and suddenly decided, well, I'm not sure if law would necessarily be for me, quite honestly.
I don't think it would be, David.
No.
As it turns out, I think it was a great move, and you got that little taste of the entrepreneurial bug.
Absolutely. My family, they're all entrepreneurs, they're all in business for themselves, and I got a lot of that essence from them. It was really passed down to me. I mean, they had me work from the age of 12 to pretty much 18 in the family business, as a cashier, as a manager, doing various things, and that really ingrained a sense of responsibility, but also an aptitude for business sense. I never actually studied any business. I never went into any official program. I just had to teach myself naturally throughout my whole career.
So now when you look back, what do you think has made Pilot so successful now, and what's unique about it?
Pretty much our team culture. Because we both came from a background of technology and design, it really gave way to a really fresh or a very unique culture, because we'd walk into a client meeting and they would see, okay, he's talking the tech, she's talking the design, and there was a fluidity that came out of the way we sold things, and that fluidity also was passed down to our team members. And over time, we'd go through the same process as every agency: hire a programmer, hire a designer. But just the way we all worked together and the way my partner interfaced with me, that kind of disseminated down to the other team members, and we started to see a lot of crossover in disciplines. So a lot of designers were interested in learning code, and a lot of the coders started becoming very interested in design.
Really?
It was a very natural process.
And I think the fact that you were 22 at the time was key, because some of these bigger agencies they're a little slower to adapt to what's happening.
Absolutely. I mean, they see two young people that are trying to enter the industry, and they've got fresh ideas and fresh approach. I mean, we're in tune with digital culture, and we're all over our phones all the time, and that was seen as refreshing. And in some regards, it was a little difficult because we're not as experienced as people that were leading agencies or starting their own business, but we had the skills, and we'd always deliver on what we promised. And that's ultimately a fundamental aspect of our business. We're not satisfied until we actually have something that can blow your socks off. I mean, the important aspect of what we're trying to achieve is passing client expectations. I'm very hard on my team in the sense of, if it doesn't blow me away, we need to try harder. And that's an important aspect of progressing any team. But the lucky part is that what we've built internally is that passion, is that motivation to constantly push beyond. And I'm not just pandering down to my employees anymore. Now it's them actually taking it upon themselves and wanting to achieve more, pushing the boundary, finding the limits of the technology and ways to circumvent them. And that's so refreshing to see. And I can't express the pride that I have from nurturing something like that and seeing it take its own form and its own structure.
Well, with all due respect to lawyers, David, I think you've made the right choice.
Thank you.
And you're demonstrating wonderful leadership for young entrepreneurs across Canada and the world. So just a delight to have you on Biz 101. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, David.
Pleasure.